Have you ever wondered what treasures lie hidden behind the heavy doors of royal vaults? What secrets do the jewels that once belonged to the world's most influential women hold? Today, we will lift the veil on one such enigma, a tiara unseen for nearly a century, yet whose value and history are truly astounding. Prepare to discover everything about the most expensive diadem in Queen Elizabeth II's collection. Queen Elizabeth II's collection of tiaras was nothing short of legendary. Historians and jewelry experts estimate that it comprised around 40 magnificent diadems, each with its own unique history and design. Choosing the most beautiful is a matter of taste, but determining the most expensive is a matter of facts and assessments. And here, a particularly special piece takes center stage: the Greville tiara, also known as the Boucheron Emerald Kokoshnik tiara. But what's most astonishing is that this treasure remained hidden from public view for decades. Created in 1919 by the House of Boucheron, this tiara spent almost 100 years away from prying eyes. Initially, it was kept in the personal collection of its first owner, the celebrated socialite Margaret Greville. And then, after her death in 1942, it passed into the possession of the British royal family, finding its resting place deep within the royal vaults. Not a single photograph, not a single mention in the press revealed its existence to a wide audience. It became something of a legend, a ghostly treasure whispered about only among the most knowledgeable connoisseurs. For many years, it seemed that the world would never see this marvel of jewelry artistry. But everything changed on one momentous day, October 12, 2018. On this day, Queen Elizabeth II's granddaughter, Princess Eugenie of York, married Jack Brooksbank in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. And as the bride appeared before the guests and millions of television viewers, there it was, shining upon her head, the mysterious Greville Emerald tiara. For the first time in almost a century, this jewel was unveiled to the world in all its splendor, instantly becoming a sensation. Princess Eugenie did not simply wear the tiara. She made it the central element of her wedding ensemble, foregoing a veil so that nothing would distract from the dazzling sparkle of emeralds and diamonds. It was a triumphant emergence from the shadows, a moment that had been awaited for decades. But what exactly was this tiara that had been hidden for so long? And why is it considered the most valuable in the royal collection? The design of the Greville tiara is the quintessence of the Art Deco style, which reigned supreme in fashion in the early 20th century, but with a unique Russian twist. Made in the form of a kokoshnik, a traditional Russian headdress for women, it pays homage to the fashion that had captured European courts, thanks to the Russian empresses and grand duchesses in the late 19th century. This shape gives the tiara a majestic and, at the same time, exotic appearance. The very structure of the tiara is an almost complete circlet of platinum, a durable and noble metal perfectly suited for setting precious stones. The central element, which captures the eye, is a monumental cabochon cut emerald. This antique cut, which gives the stone a smooth, convex surface without facets, perfectly reveals the depth and richness of the Colombian emerald's color. Its weight is truly impressive, more than 93 carats. This is a stone of exceptional clarity and color, a true natural masterpiece. On either side of the central giant, 6 more emeralds are symmetrically arranged, also cut as cabochons, 3 on each side. They are slightly smaller than the central stone in size, but not in beauty, creating a harmonious composition and emphasizing the splendor of the main emerald. Their combined weight and quality make the tiara even more valuable. But the emeralds are only part of the magnificence. The entire platinum frame of the tiara, crafted in the form of graceful curving branches or rays, is completely covered with old-cut rose diamonds. This cut, popular before the advent of modern brilliant cuts, features a flat base and a domed upper part with triangular facets resembling the petals of a blooming rose. Such diamonds possess a special soft, almost mystical glow, different from the sharp brilliance of modern stones. The use of specifically rose diamonds, which are extremely rare in nature and highly prized by collectors, adds not only uniqueness to the tiara, but also significantly increases its value. The quantity and quality of these diamonds are astounding. They create a dazzling backdrop for the green emeralds, emphasizing their color and giving the piece an airiness and lightness, despite its impressive size and weight. Interestingly, the design of the Greville tiara bears a striking resemblance to another famous emerald kokoshnik tiara, which belonged to Grand Duchess Elizabeth Feodorovna, the sister of the last Russian Empress, Alexandra Feodorovna, and the wife of Grand Duke Sergei Alexandrovich. Elizabeth Feodorovna's tiara, created supposedly by the jewelry house Bolin in 1884 for her wedding, is also adorned with large cabochon-cut emeralds. Legend has it, they once belonged to Empress Catherine the Great of Russia, and is made in the shape of a kokoshnik. After the tragic death of her husband and Elizabeth Feodorovna's departure to a monastery, the tiara passed to her niece and ward, Grand Duchess Maria Pavlovna, the younger. Maria Pavlovna managed to take the tiara out of revolutionary Russia. Subsequently, it was sold to the jewelry house Cartier and is now part of its historical collection. It is quite possible that Margaret Greville, who moved in the highest circles of European society and followed the fashion and jewels of the aristocracy, had seen images of the Grand Duchess's tiara, or even her herself, and was inspired by its design when commissioning her own piece from Boucheron. This similarity only adds charm and historical depth to the Greville tiara, connecting it not only with the British aristocracy, but also with the brilliance and tragedy of the last Tsars of Russia of the Romanov dynasty. But who was this enigmatic Margaret Greville, the first owner of such a magnificent treasure, who managed to order and receive a tiara that, decades later, would become the most valuable in the collection of the British Crown? Dame Margaret Helen Greville, née Anderson, was an extraordinary and influential personality, a true doyenne of London society in the first half of the 20th century. Her story is one of ascent from less than brilliant circumstances to the heights of British society. Margaret was born in 1863 and was the illegitimate daughter of beer magnate millionaire William McEwen and his housekeeper Helen Anderson, whom he later married. Having inherited her father's immense fortune, Margaret received not only financial independence, but also the opportunity to enter high society. In 1891, she married the Honourable Ronald Greville, the eldest son of the second Baron Greville. Ronald was a military man, a politician, a member of Parliament, and a friend of the future King, Edward VII. This marriage opened doors for Margaret to the most exclusive circles of British aristocracy, and even the royal family. Although Ronald Greville died in 1908, only 17 years after their wedding, Margaret, now known as Mrs. Ronnie Greville, had already firmly established herself in society. She was known for her wit, strong character, generosity, and passion for luxury, especially for jewels. Her home, Polesden Lacey in Surrey, became a centre of social life where politicians, aristocrats, and members of the royal family gathered. Mrs. Greville was a close friend of Queen Mary of Teck, the consort of George V, and maintained warm relations with her sister-in-law, Lady Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, the future Queen consort of George VI, later known as the Queen Mother. It was this friendship that would play a key role in the subsequent fate of her jewellery collection. Margaret Greville adored jewels and had the means to satisfy her passion. She commissioned and purchased jewellery from the most prestigious jewellery houses of her time: Cartier, Boucheron, Chaumet. Her collection was the subject of admiration and envy. The emerald kokoshnik tiara from Boucheron, commissioned in 1919, was just one of many treasures in her jewellery box. However, the exact circumstances of the tiara's commission remain unclear. It is unknown whether it was a gift, a commission for a specific event, or simply an addition to the collection. The origin of the central emerald, weighing almost 94 carats, also remains a mystery. Whether it was provided by Mrs. Greville herself or found by Boucheron jewellers specifically for this commission. Despite the magnificence of the tiara, Mrs. Greville, according to available information, wore it extremely rarely and not to the most high-profile public events. Perhaps its somewhat avant-garde design for the time or the specific shape of the kokoshnik made it less versatile than her other diadems. Or perhaps she simply cherished this particularly valuable treasure. In any case, the tiara did not become Mrs. Greville's calling card and remained virtually unknown to the general public during her lifetime. Margaret and Ronald Greville's marriage was childless. Lacking direct heirs to whom she could pass on her vast wealth and magnificent collection of jewels, Mrs. Greville made a decision that forever inscribed her name in the history of British royal jewels. What happened to her treasures, including the mysterious emerald tiara, after her passing? Margaret Greville passed away in 1942 at the height of World War II. In her will, she left the majority of her estate, including Polesden Lacey, which went to the National Trust, and her entire impressive collection of jewellery to her close friend, Queen Elizabeth, the wife of King George VI, later known as the Queen Mother. It was a truly royal gift. The jewellery box of Mrs. Greville, passed on to Queen Elizabeth, contained true masterpieces of jewellery art. Among them were such iconic pieces as a magnificent diamond necklace with 5 strands, supposedly belonging to Marie Antoinette, although this legend is disputed by historians, a pair of antique diamond girandole earrings, a luxurious ruby necklace from Boucheron, several tiaras, including the famous honeycomb tiara, which was subsequently often worn by the Queen Mother, and then by Queen Camilla. And, of course, among these treasures was the emerald kokoshnik tiara. Having received such a generous inheritance, the Queen Mother actively used many pieces from the Greville collection. The honeycomb tiara became one of her favourites. However, she apparently never wore the emerald kokoshnik in public. Why? The reasons may be different. Perhaps the Art Deco style and the shape of the kokoshnik did not match her personal taste or established image. The Queen Mother preferred taller classic tiaras, such as the Oriental circlet tiara or her beloved Strathmore Rose tiara. Perhaps the emerald tiara was too heavy or uncomfortable, or its bright, distinctive design was difficult to combine with other jewellery and outfits. Whatever the case, the tiara went back into storage, this time the royal one. After the death of the Queen Mother in 2002, her collection of jewels, including all the treasures inherited from Mrs. Greville, passed to her daughter Queen Elizabeth II, and again, the Greville emerald tiara remained in the shadows. Elizabeth II, who had access to a vast number of magnificent diadems with a rich history, also never appeared in it in public. Like her mother, the Queen probably had her own preferences. She often chose tiaras with a more flexible design or with a greater historical connection to the British monarchy, such as the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, or the Vladimir tiara. Years passed, and the Greville emerald tiara turned into an object of rumours and speculation among royal observers and jewellery enthusiasts. Its long absence gave rise to theories that it might have been sold, dismantled for stones, or gifted to someone outside the main line of succession. No one could say for sure whether it still existed. For decades, it waited for its hour in the darkness of the royal vaults, keeping a mysterious silence. But why did Elizabeth II, known for her love of symbolic gestures and respect for history, never reveal this unique creation of Boucheron to the world? The answer to this question will probably remain in the realm of speculation. Perhaps it really was about style. Art Deco and the kokoshnik may have seemed too specific or not in keeping with her role to the Queen. Perhaps the associations with Margaret Greville, a bright figure but not of royal blood, played a role. Or simply, among the many magnificent tiaras, this one did not find its place in the monarch's wardrobe. But oblivion was not eternal. The fate of the tiara changed thanks to the choice of a new generation of the royal family. Princess Eugenie, the younger daughter of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, has always been distinguished by a certain independence in style and views. Preparing for her wedding in 2018, she was looking for something borrowed, a traditional element of the bride's wedding attire, symbolizing connection with family and its history. And her choice fell precisely on the Greville emerald tiara. Why this one in particular? Perhaps Eugenie was attracted to the magnificent emeralds, her zodiac stone. Perhaps she liked the unique Art Deco design and the shape of the kokoshnik, which distinguished this tiara from other more traditional royal diadems. Perhaps the history of the piece, its mystery, and its connection to her great-grandmother, the Queen Mother whom she admired, played a role. Probably, upon seeing the tiara in the vaults, the princess was captivated by its beauty and decided that this treasure should adorn her on the most important day. Queen Elizabeth II, the bride's grandmother, gladly provided the tiara to Eugenie. This gesture not only fulfilled the wedding tradition, but also allowed the world to finally see the hidden treasure. Eugenie's choice turned out to be incredibly successful. The tiara perfectly harmonized with her wedding dress by Peter Pilotto and Christopher DeVos, with an open back, showcasing the scar from the scoliosis surgery that the princess underwent as a child, a bold and inspiring step. The green emeralds of the tiara perfectly matched the color of the princess's eyes and the bridal bouquet. The diamond and emerald drop earrings, which Eugenie wore to match the tiara, added a special harmony to the image. These earrings were a wedding gift from her groom, Jack Brooksbank. Obviously, they were selected specifically to perfectly complement the historical tiara, creating a complete and incredibly elegant ensemble. Eugenie's decision to wear the tiara without a veil was bold and emphasized the central role of the piece. She wanted all the attention to be focused on this work of jewelry art, which had waited so long for its moment in the spotlight. The public and fashion critics were delighted. The tiara was unanimously called delightful, stunning, extravagant, and the perfect choice for the princess. Its appearance became one of the most discussed moments of the wedding. The Greville tiara did not just return from oblivion. It triumphantly announced itself as one of the most significant and beautiful jewels in the British royal collection. This tiara, with its almost 100-year history of silence and a single but so bright appearance, involuntarily makes one think about the fate of other similar jewels. But what makes the Greville tiara the most expensive in Elizabeth II's collection? Assessing royal jewels is a complex and largely hypothetical matter, as they are rarely offered for sale. However, experts agree that a combination of factors puts the Greville emerald tiara at the top of the list in terms of potential value. Firstly, it is, of course, the stones. The central emerald weighing 94 carats is an exceptionally rare and large stone of such quality. Colombian emeralds are considered the standard, and finding a cabochon of this size and purity is almost impossible. The 6 additional large cabochon emeralds only increase the value. Secondly, it's the rose-cut diamonds. Although they may be inferior to modern diamonds in fire, their historical value, rarity, especially if there are pink hues among them, as some sources claim, although they are more often described simply as antique white, and quantity in this product are colossal. Thirdly, it is the work itself of the Boucheron Jewelry House, one of the most prestigious in the world, whose products are highly valued by collectors. The craftsmanship, the Art Deco design, the platinum setting, all this adds value. Fourthly, it is the provenance, the history of ownership, the connection with such a colourful figure as Margaret Greville, and the subsequent entry into the collection of the British royal family give the tiara immense historical and cultural value, which often exceeds the cost of the materials themselves. Finally, the mystery factor, and its triumphant return at Princess Eugenie's wedding added to its legendary status and recognition, which also affects the potential valuation. The combination of all these factors, exceptional stones, craftsmanship, the prestigious name of the creator, rich history, and royal status, allows us to consider the Greville Emerald Tiara not only a unique work of art, but also, probably, the most valuable treasure among the diadems that have ever adorned the head of Queen Elizabeth II, even if she herself did not wear it. So, we have traced the amazing fate of the Greville Emerald Tiara. From its creation for an eccentric socialite to decades of oblivion in the royal vaults and a triumphant return at a royal wedding, This is a story about beauty, generosity, the mutability of fashion and tastes, and how the treasures of the past can find new life in the hands of future generations. The Greville tiara is not just a collection of precious stones and metal. It is a living witness to history, a symbol of the connection of times, and an embodiment of the enduring magic of royal jewels. What other secrets do royal jewelry boxes hold? What unknown masterpieces are waiting for their hour to one day once again dazzle the world with their brilliance? One can only guess. And which royal tiara do you admire most? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of luxury and history, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new fascinating stories about the great jewels of the world. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.